Welcome to Tami's Soul Speak, featuring animal intuitive and medium Tami Hendricks, offering insight, spirituality, transformation, and clarity to every soul. Now, here's Tami.
Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy holiday season. Happy turning into winter. I know we are here in Asheville. It's been super cold and definitely not bicycling weather, but unless you super bundle up. But even the bears are not showing up too much here. It's a very interesting time of year as we round toward the end of the year. And so wherever you are, I know your lives are busy and full, and I'm so appreciative of you taking the time out of your busy day to join the animals and me and create such a cocoon, kind of like the incubator that we do while we're here. And it's so good to see all of you coming in. Hi, Marge. Hi, Karen. Hi, Mary from South Carolina. I wonder what the weather is there for you. Is it coolish? Happy Wednesday, Claire. Always good to see you. I'm feeling blessed to be here too. I'm always so grateful. Hi, Susie. I hope you're doing well. I think of you often. And Marianne, you finally made it. Yay. From West Virginia. Yeah, that's wonderful. And hi, Claire. It's just, amazing that we can even like stop for a minute, breathe, and get down to exploring what life is saying these days and what the animals are trying to share with us these days. Hi, Deanna. Oh, you already have the tissue ready. Oh, you may need the tissue today, but you may not. We'll see. Susie Wright, hello to you. And Joy, good to see you. It's isn't it a wonderful time of year? We all take a deep breath, and it seems like from Thanksgiving on, I don't know if you felt this, that I've always felt like the energy starts picking up, and there's this collective move where we're all feeling almost like we move together as a group without even meaning to. So, the fact that we can come here and create this special space is quite amazing. And actually, it helps. It goes forward after our shows. The energy we create here goes forward into the world, and the animals help us do that. Hi, Kim. It's good to see you from Canada. So, I know as we've talked about, holidays it's a season of warmth and joy. And I know next door at there's a resort, and it's tons of happy people, tons of families, tons of smiles, tons of gingerbread houses. It's just an amazing time. But, that can also be an especially painful time with regards to the loss of a pet at this particular time. Goodness, Claire, she says she lost her fur baby last week. I'm lost without her. Oh, I'm so sorry. And I'm so glad you're here, hoping the show will give you comfort and connection and a lot of heart warmth. I often feel that when we have a passing, especially an animal, it's almost like our hearts are cold. We need extra, comforting and hugs and all kinds of physical things that could help us, like we need to wrap ourselves in a big hug. Patricia, good to see you from Canada. And Jennifer, good to see you from New York. As I was saying, the external world's filled with bright lights and shiny decorations and an atmosphere of celebration. And, people that you don't even know walk by and say, happy holidays, good to see you. A lot of people are in a great mood. A lot of people are not, and it can also be not only a sad time, but just, it can kick up a lot of emotions during this time. And Kim says, I lost my fur baby Pepper 3 weeks ago. I am so sorry. And we'll talk about this a little bit more in the show. This time of year especially, a lot of souls leave. This time, as we approach, like during the holiday season, And as we approach the end of the year and a little bit into January, there are a lot of souls that leave. And then again, I see an uptick of that with animals during, I'd say spring, Easter time, where there's a lot of, I guess, focus on the spiritual side of things. And I've always felt, and the animals have told me, it's an easier portal for them to leave, and humans too. Susie said the loss of a pet and family through the years during this time can be awfully tough. I too have that. My sister passed in December. And so it does make a difference, and you always remember and you always reflect back. Christy, it says, hello from Tucson. I lost my heart dog on December 4th. Oh, I'm so sorry. And Carol Ann, it's good to see you. Hi from the Great White North, Winnipeg, Canada. I'm so glad all of you are joining and all your animals are bringing you here. And Stephen says, instead, Dakota in August. Thank you for helping me in that difficult time. Stephen, I appreciate you reaching out with Coda. What a beautiful soul connection. That's always going to be there. And Marianne says, even now I feel lonely during holiday without Lily. Oh, that just makes my heart. And it has been over 21 months. Oh, Marianne, I don't know that we ever quite rebound in the same way. There's always this special space in our hearts, no matter the time, even, whether it's any month of the year, but especially as we remember celebrations and sacred things that we did. But, it's interesting because on the outside, I can remember when my sister passed, I remember going outside to walk the dogs and everything looked the same. Trees were there, sky was there, yard looked the same, animals looked the same, and yet everything in my internal world had shifted. It was such a contrast. And I feel like that's what a lot of times we feel, this outside, it looks the same. And in this case, everything's bright, shiny, Christmas songs and all kinds of various celebrations. But internally, we feel this stark contrast and we experience feelings of, I don't know how you would describe it, maybe dullness, darkness, sadness. It's definitely can be quite heavy and quite surreal as we go through life. But I do feel like we notice that dissonance more between the outward festivity and the inner emotional state. And that alone, I remember going into a mall after my sister passed and everything was fine until it wasn't. And I just broke out in tears for no good reason, except that washed over me. And so I think it's important for all of you, especially as you're grieving with recent passings and passings that you are remembering, to honor those feelings that come up and honor the space that you're in, even if it seems like it's out of context. It's, our emotions in that way are never out of context. Caroline says, I lost I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Satine, when she was 13 months old. She was my everything, a beautiful tricolor papillon. Oh, that's especially hard, isn't it, when we lose them early and when we lose them, so young. It's hard. Yeah, and Mary says, bittersweet. It's truly never going to be easy. I lost my Gus 4 years ago tomorrow, December 14th. Oh, I'm so sorry. And, this is a good time to have the show for all of us because we can do, and I'm going to share with you some special things, some ways to bring spirit in that will be very intimate for you, very meaningful. And Stephen says, I still have rough days. When I do, I look at your post and other people who have gone through the same thing. Makes me feel not alone. Thank you for saying that, Stephen. Isn't it important that we hold each other's hands especially during these times? Because we can feel so alone in that grief and pain, and we can actually internalize and isolate without even realizing we're doing it. So I find with the group we have, our special Facebook animal group, and if you're not a member, please join. It's wonderful. We can hold the space for each other. And I watch as you do that for each other on the page, and it's quite beautiful, quite a wonderful community. And Maria says, yes, I found my Louis stocking yesterday, And wow, it hit me hard. Oh, I know. And you know that finding the stocking, finding certain things at this time of year, that's actually, and we'll talk about that, a way that our pets reach out to us, and it can hit us like right in the gut, right in the heart. And Deanna said, I made Yellowstone reservations last week. Going to be so strange not having Dewey there after 12 years of going together. Yes, strange. And I'm wondering if you can make it like an honorary kind of in his honor trip and do something special in his honor on that trip. I think that I'm just feeling that would be beautiful. And he also says he will tell you what that special thing he wants is. Marianne says we can relate and have each other's back. Yes, so important. And Stephen says, will be my first Christmas without her in almost 16 years. It's a big deal. It is a big deal when we're rounding that first time. Even if we're rounding it many, many times, it brings up emotions, and that's actually a good thing, even though it can be poignantly beautiful, where we remember things and we run into things. It's the emotions are coming up to the surface to be embraced and looked at. So rather than resist, try to lean into that if you can, because the animals never cloak their feelings like we do. We're like, I'm fine. Yeah, great. Everything's going good. They're always present with whatever state they're in, unlike humans who cover up their emotions with appearances. I know you know what I'm talking about, even while their inner experiences say otherwise. It's like we just don't have the space all the time to, for emotions to be in the room as well. So Brad says, I lost my cats when a new Chinese restaurant opened. Now that I think of it, I could go for a number 42 lo mein. Jennifer says that will be my first Christmas without Cheeky J Cat. Let us make this show in honor of all the babies that have been in our lives, all the ones who have passed, all the ones who have crossed our paths, even the ones that we may not have had as personal pets. Maybe we walked by an animal and locked eyes with them, and we nodded to each other and greeted each other. I like that. Let's set that intention now. But I don't know about you, and I've experienced many, 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 many deaths, especially with animals in my life. We're never really prepared. Whether we see the exit signs clearly or it's sudden, the final event can be quite startling and sobering. And this is it, such a finality. I always say death tears the web of our ordinary reality. Like when I was talking about going outside and everything looked the same, and inside everything had changed within me and nothing would be the same. So in the tearing of that reality, the veil becomes very thin. Even in crisis, there is opportunity. Stephen says he's going to light a candle this Christmas for our pets. I think, and maybe I can put out a post so that we can all join in that. Let's do that. Let's do that then, and also at the end of the year, super important time before we go into the next year. So, the death of a pet especially is often sad and messy, and it can be tragic, and it can be beautifully poignant, such a sacred space. And so, these certain times a year where we have markers, they don't come up to torment us or to punish us. They come up for us to honor how the life we lived with them, honor who they were in our lives, honor the privilege of walking the path with them. It's also during this time that the animals step forward in spirit and they offer us comfort and guidance. The veil is thinner, as I said, and the portal for spirit is more open for spirit to step through. That's why I'm encouraging you, as you feel, any kind of like sadness or grief, just breathe and let it be there. Try not to push it away. Try not to distract yourself away from it. Thank it for coming and honor it as a sign of the love that you shared, and Relax your shoulders into it and see if you can't just pause in the middle of that. The conduit through which the spirit stepping forward happens is through our heightened emotions, actually, individually and collectively. And that's why, this time of year and times a year when, as a country, as a world, we all go through things, we can feel the emotions of everybody in the same space without realizing we're swimming in a sea of emotions. Ward says, when two dark eyes ask for help, can you be selfish because you feel this is the end? When two dark eyes close and say, I have to go, can you be selfish because you feel this is the end? When they say, I can't go on anymore, then I tell myself this was the best thing to do. I don't feel like that's selfish because you see that. I feel like that's kind of a communication between the two of you. And if you're getting the communication that I can't go on anymore, I always talk about the look. Ask my animals to always give me the certain look, and they always have. They've never failed me in this because, I'm just supporting their passage. It's my job to play the role I need to play with them. And so he says he tells himself this was the best thing to do. We'll talk about that a little later, especially of what the animals have shared with me. I've got some messages that I want to share with you later on. So, as I've always said, and I want to reiterate, our hearts are the connecting thread to spirit. The balance is to find a space between grief and acceptance of the new reality, and it's often the longest journey of our lives. And so, the emotions that accompany the loss of our pets weigh us down, but I want to also share that it's an opportunity to allow your hearts to be broken open. Why would you want to do that? Because if your heart is broken open, and my teacher Sharon taught me this years and years ago, the heart actually expands rather than gets smaller and contracts. It has the ability to hold even more love. And while you may think it's impossible at the time, and that you'll never be able to love again in that way, the truth is, the heart is meant to love, and it's painful beyond words when we can't do that. We're the happiest when we're loving, right? That's when we're the happiest. And so we should try not to let that be stolen from us. And even if we feel it's stolen for a little bit, it's always there. It's always at your disposal. And the animals are always, especially the ones in spirit, guiding us back to our hearts. So it's in the broken, open space where we can stay close to our intuition, lean into the silence, and listen from our heart's core to feel compassion, not only for another, but for ourselves as well. So what can you do during these times to connect with your pet in spirit? Renee, I'm hoping I gave you that slide. And then the next one, what can we do? So, just some suggestions. Create a memory table or altar with special items of your pet, like photos, collars, blankets, anything that holds their energy. So think about that a minute. What do you have of your pet that holds their energy? It could be anything, a toy. And a lot of times after they pass, we do create tables. This would be a great time to add something special in honor of your pet and spirit. And I always say, if you have a special meal, include your pet's spirit by setting a place at the table or wherever they would be when you typically had a meal. And the reason for this is you are including them in your current space, in your current life, and they know that, and they're there. And Renee, if you'll go to the next one. I always like to sing a special song to them out loud. Anything you can think of, and you make it up. This is very much like a voice card, a little holiday voice card to them. And the energy from the your voice in a song calls them in. The happier the song is, the better. Write a poem about them using their unique personality traits to create a rhyme. That's always really fun, and it also lifts your vibration, which is where you can meet them. Their vibration is very high, and when ours is super, super low, it's kind of hard to have those meet. In mediumship, we're always taught, we have to raise our vibrations. They have to lower theirs a little bit. Then read it out loud. I promise you they'll hear you. And I would ask them, actually, if it were me, and I sat down to write a poem, I would actually call forward through my heart and say, I'd love to write a poem. Can you help me? Help me think of those unique personality traits that would be fun, and write down a list of those words and then write them into a poem and see what gets created. I think you'll be surprised, and it'll make you smile. And Muriel says their hair and favorite pillows she puts on the memory table. And Susie says, I have a memorial table for my cats. And Mom, I have Wasabi's collars, pictures, Tuft, that grief can block me from hearing him. You have such a connection. Oh, I skipped over, sorry. And hang on, and cards after he passed. Yes, I think that's great, Susie. And that's actually I can feel the vibrational space that you've created. And Heather says, I love singing to my dog Boo, who passed in November 1st. He absolutely comes in with joy. I hear him clearly, and I know that grief can block me from hearing him. That's a astute observation. And yes, he comes in with joy. And so rather, even if we are grieving, just know that you can bring that vibration back by connecting to song, by connecting to the spirit of song. Lori says, we lost our sweet Maltipoo 14 years to cancer in February this year. Hardest time of our life. Oh my gosh, Lori, yes, especially if it was anywhere around Valentine's Day. That's a tough one. February in general, really tough. Yes, and Martine says, holiday season's greetings. Beyond my beloved young ones in heaven, had beautiful eagles circling over. One was giving dried breadcrumbs to three crows. That's so beautiful. I love the way, Martine, you're always so connected to spirit in nature. You are definitely a nature spirit yourself, and they will continue to always give you signs. I love that. Marge says, I have Isla's footprint in clay. That's so beautiful. And I didn't have time, but I wanted to share with you. There's a book called Ed Emberley's Thumbprint Book, and I used it when my kids were little. And basically, if you look that up, it's a book where you can, get your little ones to put a thumbprint on, and then draw little faces and hats and all. And I got thinking the other day, wouldn't it be fun with paw prints to do that? I'm not sure the animals would think that, but I think that'd be super cute. Heather says, how can we bridge feeling them in spirit with a very real physical absence? That's a great question. And I'm going to talk to you as we go forward on how to bridge that gap, because, that's the middle part where we're in that I actually, when I work with clients, we're always bridging the gap that takes us from the event into the current reality and where they are right now in our life, because we feel like we lost them. Marianne says, I have Lily's picture in every room and sing our favorite song, You Are. Oh my goodness, I love all your things that you're saying. And Claire says, I like to take my girls on daily walks, chatting as I go. I know Jeff does that too with Daisy, remembering everything they love to do. Yes, yes, yes. It's that appreciation that keeps that vibration going. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. You are all psychicking me. Marianne says, I meant you are my sunshine. That's cute. And Christy says, on the day my sweet baby passed, she showed me a rainbow. Oh, so special. It was a bright sunny day, but the rainbow was clear as we were driving home. That is such an incredible sign. I get all over body chills on that one. And yes, such a validation for the love that you shared and the continued space that you grow together. It's current. And so another thing you can do, and we talked about this a little bit, Stephen mentioned it. Renee, if you put that next slide up, is light a candle. If you'll go one more, Light a candle and speak your heart out loud. It creates a very sacred energy. And I will tell you, especially powerful for any loved one, as you on New Year's Eve, if you do that before the new year clicks in, light a candle, read a letter, read a heart letter to your loved one in spirit. Oh my goodness, the sacred energy you will feel will warm you from the inside out. And so I'd like to also share what I call the animal spirit hotline. And Renee, if you'd put up that graphic. So the animals have shared with me several things over the years of how they connect with us. And these are direct messages from them for all of us. And as you are in the show, you may want to jot these down. I have a feeling you're going to be able to take this and help somebody else with it as well who's hurting. But before I get to that, let me see, some of you are sharing, and I don't want to miss this. Christy said, I sang this to my baby all the time, including the day she passed. Yes, I love it. Keep singing. Keep singing. Maria says, I tell my new puppy, Georgie, about Louie every day. I feel like he is there. Yes, Georgie is special delivery from Louie. We've definitely talked about that. Special delivery package. So I love that you're understanding that connection and you're continuing on as you always would. Heather says, I asked my dog Boo to help our new rescue dog, Katie, adapt and trust us, and she's begun snuggling with us more. Oh my goodness, yes. Bring them in and ask them. They are ready. They want to be helpful. They want to be included in your daily life. They don't want to be left out. And actually, they help guide new ones straight to us. Time and time again, I've seen it in my own life, and there is no question. You ask for help, and they're like, I'm on it. Marge says, Isla had the habit where she would look up from her food plate, look out to the living room, stare like there was something or someone there. Then she'd drag her dinner plate into the bedroom to eat. It would make me laugh and then wonder who she was seeing. That is so cute. I love that memory. What a special memory. That's something maybe later on as I share something with you, you can make note of. Claire says, I light a candle every evening for my girls and my beloved cats. At bedtime, when turning them off, I say goodnight, placing my hands over their paw prints. What a wonderful ritual. I love this. And, ritual and ceremony are other ways we can bring them in. And I love that you're doing that every evening. Kim says, I tell my baby it's mealtime. Come eat. Yay. Good. And Caroline says, my Satine will come to me at night, reassuring me she's fine. Her body shakes with joy, everything. That's beautiful. I have a client whose animal recently passed, and she said she was laying in bed and she was sort of, in that relaxed space. And all of a sudden she saw her dog playing on the bed like the dog would always do. The dog in spirit was playing, not really paying attention to her, just doing what she always did. So even if you can't see them, there are so many ways that they come back and you can feel them. The main thing is just don't doubt it. We ask for signs and messages. We plead, we beg, we whine, we cry. And then when they come, we're like, oh, well, I'm just not sure that was it. And I just want to say, oh my goodness, just the thing you should do is like, thank you so much for that. Oh my gosh, how did you know I needed that so much? So yes, I love that. Susie says, Marshmallow looks up the ceiling near the front door in the morning. I think he's connecting with my wasabi. Oh yeah, you've got the whole connection team. It's like a little animal network in your space. You have definitely the soul train of animals with you. So here's some things I want to share direct from the animals that they want you to know. And as I go through this of ways to connect, think about that. Think about how you can do that. So Renee, if you put that slide up. So they want to know, what is your favorite memory of me? And I know, Marge, you just shared a favorite. Can any of you locate one favorite? So special. And there's a point to this when they have shared this with me. You know, we gave each other gifts during our time together. And for those of you, especially who have lost recently, have you discovered the gifts they shared? Sometimes it takes a little time after we go through grieving, though. What were the gifts you shared with me? Because you shared them as well. It was a reciprocal relationship. And Renee, if you'll leave that slide up, Janet says, Grace's birthday was yesterday. That is why I thought of Grace yesterday, apparently. And I spent hours sketching and painting a picture of her as a way of spending quality time with her. The holidays are tough without her. Janet, did you feel her in your painting? Because I have a feeling she was like influencing how that went. But please let us know. That's beautiful. I love that you paused and you honored the space that was her. And holidays, it makes holidays a little easier. Martine says, with making baked chicken, sensed energy near my legs for the first time. Troy's energy visited, too unique to be forgotten. Oh, Martine, I love that. And I'll tell you why, especially since it's such a wow, but also how did you know it was Troy? I always like to ask people, you say like, oh, I felt the energy. And then you will in the same next breath say, but I don't read energy. And I'm like, you think that, what do you think you were doing when you communicated with your animal? What do you think your animal is doing with you? You're absolutely reading energy. It's a wordless communication. You know, those are the animal voices. Marge says, yes, some nights just before I doze off, I can feel Isla snuggled up into my back. Oh, I love that. Those are so special, especially at this time of year. And Kim says, I say good morning, Pepper, every morning and good night at bedtime. And Pepper hears that, and Pepper is right there with you. I always include my animals as well. You know, Murphy's bed is still out. Katie is still with me. I mean, there are so many, and they're in here with us as you know, we share our time together. And so, yes, Janet says, I kept asking her for help with the painting. Oh yeah, she wants to be that co-painter, co-author. She's not about to be left out. So, you know, a while ago, and if I haven't mentioned superpowers, we all have superpowers. You may not realize it in yourself. What was your animal's superpower? If you'd say, think about it a minute. The one that made you laugh, the one that made you proud of me. You know, I have many animals over the years, and Snoopy had this incredible superpower of seeing what couldn't be seen. And she became blind, completely blind. And she had an uncanny ability to see beyond things that I needed to see, especially where she one time found a hole in the property in the fence, got under it. And when I realized she wasn't with us as we went back in the house and went looking for her, she was standing on the other side of the hole waiting for me. And I was like, Snoopy, you get right back how you came back in at time I didn't see it. And she went right back under the hole, past me, and went straight to the house, which was a long driveway all the way. Now she couldn't see all the way to the front door. And I'm running after her going, well, wait a minute. Well, wait. So open the door. She goes in the living room, jumps on the sofa. And so I'm huffing and puffing, chasing her and getting in there. And I'm like, what was that all about? Like, you could have been hurt. And her message to me was, if a blind dog can find a hole in the fence, what do you think the seeing ones can? Plug it up. That was her superpower. So think about what the superpower was. Stephen says, Coda always made me laugh. She would wear anything I put on her. I miss that so much. I bet you've got some great photos of that too. Susie said, showed me how to play and laugh. Marshmallow does the same. And the comfort and calmness when sitting on my lap or near my feet. Oh, I love that. Oh, Susie, don't we all need more playfulness and laughter? Mary says, even in his old age, Gus would fly from the foredeck steps with his long ears flying outward and landing on all fours. What a great superpower. I love it. These are things that you can, during this time of year especially, collect them. Favorite memories, write it down. We gave each other gifts. I gave this, you gave me this. We exchanged gifts all our lives. We exchanged gifts. We just didn't wait till holidays. What was my superpower? That's just one of their favorites. And Renee, if you would go to the next one. Animals love stories. Love them like children. What stories do you like to tell about me? They love to hear how they came to us. Please tell me the story of how I came to you and what that meant to you. What was your favorite story of me? They're just like children, and they love being highlighted in, the main character in the story. So what stories do you like to tell? Write a story, write it down about their life with you. This is especially powerful because, just like Janet with painting and Grace, it calls their energy in, and it gives the mind something to do, like tell a story, write a story, and the mind's like, okay, we know how to do that. And then your heart steps in. The mind's got the job. We get the mind occupied, and then your heart can start connecting and you start channeling. What is your pet's legacy? What did they leave the world better because of? What did they give that was markedly theirs? So important. And I always like this one. And this one can, you can do this many ways. You can do this with children too. If you have children, grandchildren, take my name and for each letter, put a positive quality starting with that letter. Like, with Grace for the G and the R, what kind of positive attributes would you assign? And then you could take it a step further and A, make it into a poem, B, make it into a song, C, write a little story with it. Oh, your vibration and will join theirs in this space of imagination and childlike joy. And that's exactly the space they are in. So all these ways allow you to connect, allow your vibration to shoot up to a really high frequencies. Tami says, I always tell stories to my cat, the horses too. Tami, the beautiful photos you take are stories in themselves. And I love that you do that. And Maria says, Louis was my PTSD dog and would wake me up from nightmares with his sloppy kisses. I just got a visual of that. It was just making me smile, and then I can't talk. Such a wonderful way to wake up. I love that you're sharing these because, it's all lifting our spirits. And Heather says, I love these questions. Thank you. I'm so happy. And so, how do our pets communicate with us in spirit? Renee, if you put up that next slide. There are a few ways, as it turns out. So Renee, if you go to the next one, dreams. Our soul pets in spirit often come to us through dreams. Have any of you experienced that? It can feel very real, like they just visited us. And guess what? They have. I wanted to share, and Renee, just leave up the slide. I wanted to share a special, Mandy wrote in on our group post, and she said she had a dream about her dog who had passed, and it was just an amazing. So I wanted to share because you too this is available to all of us, and we can ask for dreams. It's like spirit on demand. Just be open and in curiosity of, I'd love for a dream to come. So she says, I was walking in the woods and it was snowing. There were large pine trees on both sides of me. They all had white lights on them, like giant Christmas trees covered in snow. I could hear the snow crunching under my feet as I walked through these trees. I came to a clearing in the woods, and there was a large, cozy campfire burning. Beyond the fire was a door. I walked through the door and went up steps. I opened another door, and there was my Mario waiting with his little tail wagging. Everything was white around us, and I got down on the floor and started crying and kissing him, telling him how much I love him and miss him. He was licking my face like crazy. Next thing, we were in our yard, but it wasn't our yard. I was throwing his rubber snowball, which he loved. He was chasing it just like we always did. We played until he was ready to quit. We then went back to the white area, and he sat down like he always did when we were leaving. I was crying again, and I told him to be a good boy and that I'd be back. I kissed his face and went back through the door. I started walking through snowy woods again while the song, I'll Stand By You, started playing. What's so strange is that while I know that song and never really cared for it, couldn't tell you the last time I heard it. I woke up immediately following this dream. Tears were just pouring from my eyes. I've had dreams about my boy before, but this was just so different and beautiful. Isn't that beautiful? That's like a scene that you could have painted. And she mentioned that she had often thought about getting an artist to paint that. Didn't you feel that when I was reading it? That was a true visitation. So, all the things we can do to lift our spirits and to raise our vibration, man, we need to do that for the sake of ourselves, for the sake of those around us, for the sake of our animals and spirit. During this time, you may also feel their presence around you, like some of you have mentioned, in their usual spots, or hearing familiar sounds associated with them. It's a time for that portal is open. Signs in nature, Martine, you're the expert on this. Signs through nature are common for our pets to communicate, like a specific bird or a butterfly. I had somebody whose dog sent hummingbird after hummingbird, and the hummingbirds flew in the house in pairs, and then would, stay there a minute and then fly back out. So they keep visiting, or they appear at a significant moment. So pay attention to those things. And Renee, if you put up the next one, what about the memories triggered by objects? I know some of you have said, you found something, earlier the stocking, and you saw your dog's stocking. Pets use common objects like favorite toys or photos to grab our attention at this time. I mean, they got to work hard because we're super busy and we're super distracted. So, if you unexpectedly bump into those objects, trust it's them saying hello, 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 and feelings of comfort. All of a sudden you have a feeling of warmth or comfort that wafts through about your pet. It's your soul pet visiting you. Don't not notice, and don't not appreciate it. Unusual occurrences, lights flickering, songs playing. Somebody that I know as a client had her pet throw photo after photo after photo on her phone, and she was just like startled, and she couldn't explain it. Your pet's trying to get your attention. So let's pay attention. So have any of you had any of these experiences in your life where you have a memory that an object popped up? I know I have, where, something I wasn't expecting to run into, I run slap into. And depending on, if I'm in this serious grieving process, it can either trigger this like meltdown or this like, oh my gosh, it's so great. Marge says lights and shadows all the time in my home. And Lisa says, Pilot's descendants says, come to my door. There are his descendants. Yeah. Come to my door. There are 2 kitty cats, twins, look just like him. I named them Jinxie and Minxie. I love it. And I love that playful feel of you're recognizing Pilot. And so, Renee, if you put up that next graphic, just to remind you, don't let your pet get a busy signal. Appreciate and say, surprise me. I'd love to see something. So be open and curious, and always have that wow factor, like, oh, wow, I'd really love that. And so let me share what your pets in spirit want you to know. And Renee, if we can scroll through those. These are little notes they asked me to share with you. So let's all sit up straight and listen to what they have to say. So Renee, if you put the next graphic up, once connected, always connected. Our bond doesn't end with death. It only grows and deepens. We are grateful for our time with you, the love we shared, and the life we lived. I get this over and over in sessions from the pets. You think we are gone. We know we're not. That's a big one. That's a huge one. They've also shared that humans focus on the quantity of time lived. We always focus on the quality of our time with you. Isn't that something good for us all to remember? It's never about quantity. It's always about quality. And Renee, if you'd slide to the next one. Our vibration in spirit is very high, like a hummingbird's wings. We understand you'll grieve, as that is a natural part of the loss and healing. Grief is a heavy emotion, but we will patiently be there when your heart opens again. You remember us talking about all the different things about the high vibration and things you can do. The more you can do that, the more your frequency will rise and the more you'll match theirs. When you think of us with your heart, we are immediately with you. I can't emphasize that enough. I had my cat Sophie show that to me by just thinking of her randomly. She all of a sudden appeared and was very present, very healthy, very like, oh, you called, we're right here. If Renee, if you'd next, they also share too, no regrets. I know some of you have shared that today. Our journey with you happened exactly as it meant to every step of the way. In time, more understanding will come. We don't hold grudges or have regrets, and that's the truth, they don't. Don't feel guilty about any decisions made for our well-being. I know that we mentioned that earlier in our time together. We came into your life at the perfect time, and our passing was at the right time for our soul's continued growth. And I mean in the way that they mean, both of your souls. Hearts are meant to love. It's the truth. We feel the best when we're loving, right? It's okay to open your heart to another. In fact, we need to do that. It's what we're supposed to do. Don't ever close up shop. And then the next one is, you hold our history. Our life stories were filled with meaning. Our legacy lives in you. I want you to think about that for a moment as I've shared that. When your soul pets have passed, even the ones that are with you now, do you realize that you're the one being who holds their story? You hold their history. When they pass, you're going to have that. You're the carrier, the holder. It's very sacred. And if you think about it, our parents hold our stories. We hold it for others. It's just really good to remember that we can honor them that way, that we are the one person who knew they were here. We all want to know we mattered and had value. Honor the bond we shared by remembering and celebrating how we lived. And don't focus on how we passed. They remind me over and over to share this with clients, and they remind their people, no, celebrate who we were and what we are. We each have a soul path and purpose. Our paths are always intertwined with yours. And that's why that continues on even after they pass. They're current in your life. It's a matter of you getting up to speed with that. Thank you for all you did. It was more than enough. You were more than enough. And the last one they shared, there are actually more, but they made me stop at this. We wish you could see yourself as we do. They see the golden light of our souls and spirit as we see theirs. Renee, if you'll wait on that a minute, I want to read some. Tara says, I was searching for some Christmas bags and boxes yesterday. Out of nowhere, this tiny box falls in my view. It was a tiny box with the old name tag on it. Happiest holidays to you. Love, Coco. It brought me to tears. Ooh, what a beautiful communication. What a beautiful communication. I love that. Such validation. And Heather says, yes, Boo tells me over and over again when I think of medical issues before he died. Boo fine, boo good. I love that. And that's so true. And so I want to share just something else that you can do. I call it a rush of appreciation. So Renee, if you put that back up. And so, we won't have all the time to do this, but I want to read it and share it to you because it's a great way any time of day to raise your frequency. And oh my goodness, don't we all need that? So take 5 minutes and just do a rush of appreciation. like listing in your heart all the things you love and appreciate about your animal. Begin by closing your eyes, drop into your heart, and see me in your heart. Hold your attention there, feeling my presence glow and grow as you consider how wonderful I was and how much you loved me. Let that grow. Let the appreciation for all the things you loved flood in. Your heart will expand and you'll start being able to feel it. Renee, if you'll move the slide, you'll notice as you focus upon me in your heart, the feeling will increase and your vibration will rise. I can feel it already with you. It's very powerful with the group and each of you. The longer you focus, the easier it will be to maintain that connection and vibrational frequency. They say the vibration of appreciation is the most powerful connection between the physical and those in spirit. You are opening your heart portal for direct connection anytime, any day you practice this. Make it a practice every day while moving about in daily life. That was shared directly from the animals. And as I read it, I could feel the vibrational intensity, frequency rise with all of us. And you can do this in the grocery store. You can do this in the car. You can do this as you pass strangers, as you pass animals you don't know, an animal in need. You can find something to appreciate, and then that appreciation expands out from your heart. And your animal in spirit, your pet in spirit, is right there with you, helping guide that. It's an easy in. So I hope you enjoyed that piece. I've had some wonderful questions come in that I think we all can benefit from as we look at these pieces of our soul pets in spirit. So Renee, if you would put this up. So Tally writes in, I lost my junior unexpectedly a month ago. Oh, what a sweet photo. I'm in so much grief and never thought it will come to this time or he'd pass. We're never ready. We are never ready. I don't know how to cope with the pain and missing him. I think if there's any coping, it's in allowing these feelings to be there and realizing that pain and that missing is the intensity of how much we loved. I'm always thinking, how is he? He was so dependent on me. Well, I feel like, and I don't know if you all feel this too, I feel like he's reaching out to all of us who have had pets who have passed, all of us who have been in a space or are in a space of grieving, to hold each other and support each other during this time. He's giving me the direct feeling of a huge amount of animals, actually. And I don't know if it's our group of animals here. There's an enormous amount of animals in spirit that he brings forward. He says that he's doing quite well and that he is with you in your grieving process. And I'm hoping that through the things in this show that you can touch base and tune into those places that feel so empty without him. He is definitely bringing forward, almost like I see him step forward and there's a group of animals coming forward for all of us. So that in itself is such a beautiful, it's like he's an ambassador, a spirit ambassador. He says he will continue to visit you as well. Hope that helps. And so the next one, this is Pat. Hello, Pat. Cami arrived in Canada from Mexico December 11th, 2017. She crossed the Rainbow Bridge July 2022 at the young age of 6.5. A day hasn't gone by without me thinking of her, along with talking to her. Today is our anniversary, our first days together, our first days of meeting. My question is, because I'm having such a hard time in letting her go, am I hindering her spirit in being free from earthly ties to me? What a great question, Pat. My spiritual mentor and teacher, Sharon, always taught me that, the animals stay, there's a part of them that stays back, helping us as we go through our process, no matter how long it is. The spirit is infinite. And so, she is encouraging you to continue to bring her playful and light spirit into your space. And she says, it's okay to let go, Mom. Okay to let go. You're not letting me go, she says. And I really feel like this tremendous connection the two of you had. She actually says that I don't know what she's referring to, helped you on some projects, and that you dip back into those memories. But she is so happy and so free. She's actually, I don't know what projects you've been working on over this time, but she is wanting you to call upon her and ask for her help. And in doing so, she's saying you'll free up both your spirits. What a beautiful soul dog she is. Thank you for sharing that. It helps all of us. I'd love to share a question about my dog Maya, who passed in 2019. I want to know if she forgives me for putting her to rest and that she understands why I didn't want her suffering anymore. I just want to know she's okay and understands how much guilt and sadness I experienced with that process, and that I want her to know I'm so sorry and I love her very much. I know her spirit is in my dog Lucy, whom I rescued 3 years ago. Maya was my heart dog and my first true angel dog, and I just want to make sure she forgives me and is happy. That's so beautifully and articulately written. This is so helpful for all of us. And as we talked about, and as I want to continue to, the animals have continued to remind us, no regrets. They appreciate release from a body that no longer works. And part of that journey for us in assisting with that release and the vet assisting and whatever the experience is part of our soul's growth too. There's a deep, deep loyalty and commitment she has to you. And she knows that you went through quite a bit of grief and guilt, like you mentioned, in that process. But she's so grateful that you helped her. She said, you always were a team. And she said, you always will be a team. And teammates stay with each other and they go through all the way. And that was what your journey was with her. And you played your part beautifully as she played her role beautifully. And I'm hearing more to come. And I know you have Maya, and I know you have the new dog Lucy, and that Maya she's saying, part of that journey with Lucy. And she says she kind of is her like little helper. I'm feeling the big sister feel here with her whispering things to do. So she's definitely very current in your life. And, you're reaching out to all of us, helps us all understand that their bond, their communication, their connection continues on. Thank you so much for sharing that. And this is Lori. We lost our sweet 14-year-old Maltipoo, Lexi, in February to cancer. I'm so sorry. She was the love of our lives and we miss her terribly. We feel that she was a special soul and we want to know if she can or wants to come back to us. We believe that spiritual energy continues after death. Absolutely. Very, very present. If she would like to come back to us in body, we would like her guidance as to when, where, and how we can find another healthy Maltipoo puppy. This is such a hard time for us, as it will be our first Christmas without her. I love that you are opening your heart and you're asking for her guidance, because she's definitely she is very direct and distinct about guiding another one to you. She says it's about time. So I don't know how long you've been thinking about it, or if you're just now coming to that, but I would continue to connect with her and thank her for her guidance and ask for more signs, and that you would clearly see this new one coming forward, definitely in your orbit, definitely in your field. Well, we're out of time, and I could stay here all day with you. So thank you so much again for joining us in this very special time. By the time I see you next, it'll be 2024. Be looking for posts, and be sure to listen to my podcast if you get a chance. It's on Apple Music and Spotify. And let's keep our conversation going and growing. And I will see you next time.
You've been enjoying Tami's Soul Speak featuring animal intuitive and medium Tami Hendricks.